mechanical fan on your Fox body enough to keep this thing cool in the dead of summer. So it's officially almost October, still September, but down here in the south, it's still 90 something degrees. It's still like 97 degrees with a lot of humidity. What I want to know is, can we install a mechanical fan on this car and keep it cool? On the lift right now, we have the Carbon Fox. Let's go over this thing real quick so that we all understand why this is such an issue, okay? The Carbon Fox now has a Vortex supercharger on it, and it's got a 10 rib setup. That means everything's like really, really tight up against the radiator. I understand that a lot of you guys love your electric fans, but for me, I'm a pretty simple guy. The more and more I build these cars, the more I just like the simple stuff. All the extra wiring can lead to issues. Now, if you're a super organized person and you draw a diagram out or a schematic or something for your car, after you get done with it, then chances are you're probably okay. But for me, I throw shit in my car, wiring and all this stuff, and then I can't remember which car's got what wiring, and when something goes wrong, I'm scratching my head trying to figure this out. So with all that being said, I want to see if a mechanical setup can still keep this car cool with a big Vortex on it that gets super hot under the hood. So let's go ahead and open up what we've got and we'll talk about it. So in this box is our new SVE mechanical fan setup. So this is just a fan, a clutch, and a deflector. Let's go ahead and get this thing open and look and see what we got. The reason why we're going with a new setup is I had to do a lot of trimming on my old fan because when I first installed the supercharger, everything was kind of touching and hitting. Since then, I have resolved all of those problems. So now we don't have that issue anymore. So I decided to go ahead and let's get a brand new clutch just in case mine was starting to wear out, and a new fan because, I did have to chop up the blades a little bit, and I'm sure that's not helping with cooling. And then we got a new deflector as well. Now this comes in a package kit from LMR. I'll put it up on the screen for you guys. You can see up here where I really had to hack this fan up to make this stuff work. And basically it kind of notched itself out. So I don't think it's going to be a huge difference, but it will be nice to have a new fan on this with a new clutch. So I think it's going to be worth it. All right, let's go ahead and get started, guys. This is the slowest lift in the history of lifts. Check this out, look. So as you can see, everything's pretty tight under this car. It's going to be very important that we get a fan set up that's going to move some air. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and pull this thing out and get the new one installed. As you can see, we would have probably a lot more room if we had an electric fan set up, but I do want to try to at least get this to work. So that's what we're going to do today. Go ahead and get this bolted up, and I'll get back to you guys in just a minute. When it comes time to installing this is going to be a big help to you having these slotted. Now you can actually do this to your stock fan if you'd like, or whatever the case may be. I think some of them did come slotted, or at least one hole. This will definitely help you set it down in there. All right, so now the only thing left to do is get under the car and put our deflector on, and that's just gonna help when you're driving down the road. That's not gonna help at all, obviously, while you're sitting still, but it'll definitely help once we get going down the road. All right, we got everything installed, and as you can see, I got a dead battery, so I guess a quick tip if you guys don't know, this isn't for everybody in every situation. Let's say you've got a dead battery to the point to where your charger won't recognize it. These new digital chargers typically will not recognize a completely dead battery. The way you can get around that, obviously, is just hook some jumper cables up, get a little bit of power going to this battery, turn your charger on, and then once you pull the jumper cables off, this thing will still charge. As you can see right here, so I got the cable in my hand, and it's still charging, okay? Anyway, outside of that, we do have the new deflector on, and it looks nice. With that being said, let's go ahead, jump in the car, get this thing up to temp. That's your ACT, so that's your air charge temp up top, and there is your coolant temperature down there. report back to you guys, probably from my cell phone, and let you know if I see any temperature discrepancies or anything like that, all right? I'll catch you guys here in just a minute. What I'm doing right now is just letting the car sit here and idle as long as I can, really, and just kind of see what happens. Everything's looking good. See, this is how long the car has been running in seconds. Everything seems to be good. As you guys can see, it still didn't fix the idling issue that we have when this car wants to ramp up in temperature. It's cooling down almost instantly as soon as we drive the car. Just to show you, it's cooling down quick, but that's beside the fact. We've got to probably put a new condenser in this car. I think the fan can move more than enough air. I think the issue is the fact that this condenser, even though I did straighten the fins out on it, is probably not going to cool this car the way it needs to. I definitely saw a difference though in the driving aspect of the car and the temperature. Like, that seems to definitely be a lot better. See, we're already down to 204, but if we sit here, you can probably watch the temperature go up. I love this car. You know, 216 is pushing it for my liking. That's a little hot. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it's a little too hot. But I will say this, I do see a difference in how quickly the car cools now after we drive it versus the way that it did cool. So I think the SVE fan and clutch and all that's doing the best job it can do. So I think from here we just need to put a new condenser in it that's not all bent up and beat up, guys. And I think that's going to fix the problem with the car. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. We're already down to 200 degrees. So one thing I do want to cover before I end this video, I think a lot of people tend to assume that 200 degrees is extremely hot in these cars, and that's not the case. You have to understand they come with like a 184 or something like that thermostat in them from the factory. And these cars are seeing 200 degrees in stop and go traffic all the time. We typically like to see them stay below that with built engines and things, because temperatures can spike really quickly. So we typically like to kind of keep them all in control. But 200 degrees is not the end of the world. It does need to stay a little cooler than this as it sits there and idles. So we'll see what we can do. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. And as always, thanks for watching.